Death to the stream. Happy unexpected Friday night. I am supposed to be at the movies, but sometime between 7 and like 8, I just ran out of any momentum to be anywhere besides literally. If you could see me right now, I'm literally in a horizontal position, 90% horizontal position with my massage chair, working on my back. Got the heat pad on it too, so it's like hot. Um, yeah, I just was really, like I said, I just didn't want to be anywhere besides my home office right now. I was supposed to go see the creator tonight at 9:30. I just didn't feel like being out, and then it would have ended around midnight with all the previews and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to go see it on Sunday for sure. I still want to see it. I have not heard a bad thing about it. Somebody told me today it's one of the best movies of the year, so I'm definitely going to see it before the weekend is out. I might go see it after AEW Wrestle Dream on Sunday night. So I'm still going to go see it. But right now, at some point, I just felt, you know what? I just don't want to be out and about right now. And I was talking to Clint. Clint's like, maybe streaming late night streams don't help. And I'm like, nah, because that's really easy. Me running my mouth that takes a little effort. And like literally what I'm doing right now, I'm literally in a laying down position. Like I have the screen to where I can see it though, so it's kind of cool. Happy Friday. It's the weekend. Congratulations. You made it. For those of you who designate, weekends that way. Some people every day is a Monday, like me. And guess what? After 27 years of admitting he did it, the guy who ordered the hit on Tupac was finally taken into custody today. I mean, this has been the biggest non-mystery for a very long time. Tupac Shakur was shot on my birthday in 1996. He was shot on my 22nd birthday. I remember because I mean, obviously because it was him, but I remember hearing about it on a little transistor radio because I was at the shooting range with my Army unit. And we were listening to the results of the fight. And then after all that, this happened after the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon fight. But in the coming years, I mean, LAPD, everybody knew. I mean, they knew the person who was a trigger man, who was killed in 1998, Orlando Anderson. But the guy who did it, literally, no shit, wrote a book about him doing it. So I guess at some point, Metro here in Vegas arrested Dwayne Keefe D. Davis on charges of murder with the use of a deadly weapon in connection with the 1996 killing of rapper Tupac Shakur, Las Vegas authority announced. Davis, 60, arrested Friday morning in Las Vegas, according to authority, and his wife's Henderson home was searched in July as part of ongoing. Apparently, they found evidence. So this cat held on to evidence to a murder like damn near 30 years afterwards, and he wrote a book saying he did it. Damn. You don't really need to be the mystery machine and have a talking dog and Shaggy to figure that one out. But hey, congratulations. They finally caught the guy that's been saying he's been doing it for 27 years. So hey, it's no longer a mystery, I guess, if it ever was. Hello, everyone. Hello. Like I said, if I sound a little bit weird, is because I have the monitor, like literally, like if you're sitting at like a dentist chair, I have the monitor like sitting on me like that because like I just wanted to get off my feet. All right, Jacob McKenzie. I thought semi-overnighter is on here and Poindexter Lounge. I was having problem with switching over to StreamYards. I could not get into the Poindexter account tonight. It's something on my end, but I could only get into mine. So I thought I was going to have a little bit more time to fix that. It's something I have to reauthorize or realign it. But that'll take me a couple of minutes to find the link. But other than that, no. You know what? I might put the Saturday night show on the Poindexter Lounge tomorrow because it's been a few days since I broadcasted on there. And I like to keep the blood flowing until Enosh gets back. So there's a good chance I might simulcast the Saturday overnight show tomorrow night. By the way, the Saturday overnight show is going to be a lot of fun. Let's look it up. Let's see. I've already got it set up, so I already know what we're going to be talking about. Let's not do that. Let's see. All right. So I want you guys to save the link now, so you know exactly what's going on, when it's going on. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. There we go. And we are going to, let me go ahead and share the screen. Now, this part is hard while you're lying down. All right, here we go. So there's the screen for tomorrow night. So I don't know why it does that pixelated shit when it's not live, but when you see it, it's crystal clear. All right, so tomorrow night on the Saturday Overnight Show, our comic book turning point story will be Crisis of Infinite Earth, as I had mentioned the other night. And this is going to be one of those ones where it truly was a turning point, and in my opinion, not all of it was good. All right, we are also going to preview and dive into the Exorcist films. I'm going to show the trailer for the newest Exorcist movie that if you are here local in Las Vegas, go to all my social media. If you want to be there Tuesday night when we watch this, you come down to the center, let me know. I got posters for you, and I will put you up and Tuesday night Red Rock. We will talk Wrestle Dream, which is a wrestling pay-per-view that with every moment I'm looking forward to. The lineup is great. I think there's going to be some huge surprises at AEW Wrestle Dream, and I think it could surprisingly be the best pay-per-view of the year. The rock album of the Turning Point rock album, as you can possibly see in that thing, is Nirvana's final studio album, which was In Utero. In Utero is one of the most haunting albums ever produced, in my opinion. And it became all that more haunting after he killed himself a year later, a year after this was released. It is without a doubt, in my opinion, without dispute, the best Nirvana release of their brief career. So we'll be talking about that, and we'll have a bunch of other things. And just like we did last week, I'll probably invite in some of you guys to talk to you and give you some on-time air. But tomorrow going to be a pretty relaxed day, but a pretty exciting day. And then obviously we know what's happening tomorrow at 2 p.m. for better or for worse. There it is. At 2 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to be watching arguably one of the worst motion efforts ever done. Howard the Duck, 2 o'clock Pacific time. I have posted the link in the Patreon, the host link, so you guys can use that link to actually endure this with me. And then the rest of you can just join in the chat. And who knows, I might even invite some of you on in here as well. All right, so enough of that. I don't even want to be reminded that we're going to watch that god-awful movie. Let's just go ahead and say hi to the chat. How you doing, MLB? The Streamlabs link is right there if you guys ever want to support the show in that manner. $1, $2, $3, every bit helps, especially these days. How are you doing, Glimmering and Harpy? Smash the like button. Yes, smash the like button. Share the broadcast, and let your fellow geeks know. Join the Sci-Fi Center Pantheon of Greatness. Yeah, we're getting bigger. We're growing incrementally everywhere. More and more. I looked at every now and then I look at our stats, and then it's like, given the kind of content I produce and the kind of topics I produce and I talk about, I think I'm way ahead of the game. We're all over the place for our topics because that's just how I am. I mean, it can go from music all the way to wrestling to serial killers and whatever's going on. A lot of the streams just focus on one or two things, or one big thing, and then we just have a conversation. So it's moving right along. I mean, it's moving right along. And yes, there's a Patreon if you want to be one of the patrons. I had someone upgrade to the movie tier. Hold on. Let's see where we're at. Audience. Yeah. So thank you. I wanted to thank you, Samir Tesfaye, for upgrading to the movie club. So you'll be getting some cool stuff. I got to see if I have. If you're a Saw fan, you might be getting a Saw pass. But we got more movie passes and stuff going on, and I'm also going to do a movie club watch along. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Blue Beetle for those of you who want to watch that. For you Patreons that are watching now, if you have a different movie in line, let me know because it's for you guys. So. Numbers, William. What are your thoughts on Jade Cargill officially being signed with WWE? And what do you think they'll have her debut NXT, Raw, or SmackDown? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think they'll put her on Raw. Just because they're going to make a big deal out of it. Whenever one of these companies signs someone from another company, they give them like an immediate push right out of the door. I mean, immediately. Now, does that mean that she'll maintain that push? Who knows? But AEW's done it. I mean, wrestling has been doing this for like 40 years now. They'll sign what they think is a big name, and then they'll push them to the sky. And then after a while, the dust will settle. It'll be like reentry, the honeymoon. But some of them stay at the top. I mean, like I said, I've always bringing up AJ Styles. I think as big as AJ Styles been in WWE, I think given the talent that he is, I thought he should have been a lot more, but he's not. I think AJ Styles for a long time was better than just about anybody they pushed to the top of the card. But there you go. So yeah, I think she'll debut on Raw. Where she goes after that, I don't know. But I made a post on it. I think one of my Twitter page, a rare post on my Twitter page. I don't see. I guess I've seen enough signings. I mean, I grew up watching wrestling in the '80s, where one week Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson are on NWA TV, and the next week they're the Brainbusters, and then they're back again. I don't know how many times Lex Luthor went back between WCW and WWF, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan. I mean, I grew up in an era, Dusty Rhodes, where all these guys jumped from one promotion to another when their contracts expired, and some of them came back. And so I don't see the Jade Cargill thing as for a wrestling fan as big a news. I can see why WWE is making it big news, but I also predict that Edge is going to sign with AEW. And now, I mean, you have, even if he doesn't wrestle a lot, Edge is a WWE Hall of Famer. I mean, he literally defined the ruthless aggression and attitude era. I mean, Edge is a part of their pantheon, and he may sign with AEW. And you also have, I mean, if you look at the roster jumps, these guys just go back and forth. So I just don't see it as the big news. I mean, congratulations to her. She's doing what she thinks is right for her career. But as far as like a wrestling fan, while you're signing Jade Cargill, they're signing a WWE Hall of Famer, or they might be signing Will Ospreay, or now they're highlighting a guy they got from New Japan and Jay White. It's just there's so much movement that no one person's really grabbing it for me right now as far as like jumping ship news. All right. Yes. Let's see. All right. Let's make sure I didn't switch anything. Oh man. Okay. You guys, if some of you may be new, some of you may not know that I give no shits about Cinema Score. Cinema Score and critic score on Rotten Tomato mean as much to me as, like I always say, used toilet paper. I don't care what they use to develop these scores, because a Cinema Score, according to everybody I've heard, B+ is not good. But everybody I've heard, I sent people to this movie. And I polled these people, and they love this movie. I have people that are usually hard on these type of movies that say it's one of the best movies of the year. So when it comes to these aggregates and these especially Cinema Score, I'm sorry, no offense to anybody that works at Cinema Score, I just don't have any use for your product. So my thoughts on this is it's nothing. This Cinema Score means nothing to me. Now, if I see it and I don't like it, trust me, I'll let you guys know right out of the theater. But so far, it looks like my type of movie. The people that I go to movies with and I send to these movies that are aligned with my type of movie watching has all said this is epic and it's great. So you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I should have seen it tonight, but like I said, I just ran out of air today. How are you doing, Mighty Rex? Thanks for coming in. Thank you all for coming in. Jacob didn't pick that long. He snitched when he released the book. That's what I'm saying. When was this book released? Hold on, because this cat, like I said, most people knew there's a cop, an LAPD cop, who literally did a documentary on this shit. Who had he had all the information, and a lot of people were suspecting that at the time that Tupac was killed, it was still Metropolitan Police's jurisdiction. And a lot of people think, and this is I've never been proven, that Metro did not want another OJ type spectacle. Remember, this is in 1996. We just had a year-long OJ trial the year before. Vegas is trying to keep everything that comes out of Vegas about the Strip, about vacation, about bringing your family, and you're safe. And this is the last thing. It literally, Tupac got shot on Harmon in Koval. That's the Strip. Harmon and Koval is basically the Strip. So that's really, there's suspicion that the last thing that Clark County government and Paradise and Vegas wanted is people, this big sensationalized case, and people thinking that they were in danger of being shot on the Strip, even you're in very little danger. And a lot of people think that they just buried the case, and that LAPD, even though they knew who it was and they knew, all about it, they couldn't do anything because it did not take place in their jurisdiction. But yeah, I heard of this guy. Like I said, he literally wrote a book bragging about how he did it. And apparently they raided his house with a search warrant. I'm sorry. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a murderer. But I think if I was one, there ain't shit in my house that you're ever going to find. If I got 27 years to get rid of it, you can get rid of the house in 27 years, let alone anything that they're going to hook you up with. I mean, were you trying to get caught? I mean, damn. It's like, oh, let's see. Let's read this article. The investigation started on the night of September 7th, my birthday, 1996. Michaela said, it's far from over. It has taken countless hours, really decades, of work by the men and women of our homicide section to get where we are today. Jason Johansson, the police department's homicide lieutenant, said the murder was a retaliatory attack after the conflict between the two gangs based in Compton, California, and Marion Suge Knight, the former CEO of Death Row Records, were affiliated with the mob Piru gang in Compton, while Davis was affiliated with the Southside Compton Crips, according to Johansson. Shakur was in Las Vegas to see Mike Tyson box at MGM Grand Hotel. Members of the Southside Compton Crips, including Davis and his nephew Orlando Anderson, also attended the event. As both groups were leaving the fight, members of Death Row Records spotted Orlando Anderson near an elevator bank inside MGM, and at that time they began to kick and punch him. I remember this was caught on film. And Johansson showing the hotel surveillance footage of the fight. Shakur and Knight were visible among the men who attacked Anderson. Little did anyone know that it was this incident right here that would ultimately lead to the retaliatory shooting and death of Tupac Shakur, he said. All right, both groups. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, when did he write this book? But he wrote this book like quite some time ago. And it's out there. I mean, literally, if I wanted to be a detective, I just walk to Barnes & Noble and grab the book, and he just basically admits it. So, yeah, he kind of snitched on himself. Rhea can't help to think with these murder revelations are time to distract from the government shutdown. Okay. Most people, be honest with you, and this is sad, because I watch political news all the time, and this shutdown bothers me. I got, I'm in a military family with a father who is a retiree. He's all into this stuff, and I grew up watching, so I understand every morsel that's going on with the government shutdown. But I talk to other people, and they're like looking at me like I grow antlers or something. What's being shut down? What's going on? They know something's going on, but they just move on real quick. And I'm like, now Tupac, that bam, That's some CSI stuff. But yeah, I don't know if a lot of people are even paying attention to that. I think everyone should be paying attention to the shutdown. It's an important civics lesson, but a lot of people don't pay attention to politics. They skim the surface, unfortunately. I mean, Frank Sheeran was saying that for years. He killed Hoffa, and it was a fun narrative. I'm sure we'll see another adaptation of this guy's book in the future. Yeah, we're gonna get Tupac the movie now. Yep, Nirvana. Yeah. Yeah, it's on the other end of town too. Here's the thing. I love Red Rock Theater. You know why? Because there's going to be a fat burger waiting for me. I can smell it now. There's going to be a 1.5 pound fat burger waiting for me when I leave out of that movie. All right, Anthony Manzano, William, that's pushing it a little bit, saying that Wrestle Dream is going to be the best pay-per-view of the in wrestling of the whole year so far. The build-up has been horrible. How can you say that? Oh, easy. Yes. You are 100% right. The build-up has been horrible, but that doesn't mean that the card is. And there's certain things that are going to happen on this card that I think there's going to be some swerves. Hold on. Let's look up the lineup. You're right, Anthony, but there's also sometimes these pay-per-views come out of nowhere. All right, here's the lineup. We're gonna go. Wow, this is like 12 matches on this show. That alone, you're getting your money's worth. The Acclaim versus Billy Gunn versus TMDK, Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols. That's actually a good match. Most of you guys won't know who those guys TMDK are, but I watched them in New Japan. They're great. Luchasaurus versus Nick Wayne. That should be a decent match. That's the undercard match. Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. might be one of the top 5 matches of the year. For those of you who haven't had a chance to watch Zack Sabre Jr., he is an excellent wrestler. He's one of the best in the world, and he wrestles a style that would work anywhere. All right, Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland. They've done a lot of building up of that match, but right now I'm not caring about either one of those guys. This is the match right here that will be worth the entire night. FTR versus Aussie Open. FTR does not put on bad matches. They are usually the best match on any card that they are on. Aussie Open does not put on bad matches. Together, they did a match a year ago to the day, October 1st last year, was one of the best matches I've seen in all my life, as far as tag team goes. It was in Royal Quest 2 last year, and they made sure that they're doing this to the day, and it's for the World Tag Team title. That match alone makes this one of the best ones. MJF versus the Righteous, Vincent and Dust. This is going to be a swerve here because Adam Cole is out with a legit injury. He messed up his ankle, and it's swollen like a cantaloupe. So there's going to be some swerve here because the whole Jay White Bullet Club situation and the mystery of who attacked him, I think that's going to get revealed here, and it might be one of their new signings. Chris Jericho and the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family, Takashita and Sammy Guevara and Will Ospreay. All of those men in the match are excellent. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega have put on the top 2 matches of the year. Wrestle Kingdom 17 for the U.S. title and Forbidden Door for the 2 best matches of all the wrestling I've seen this year. And they're going to be in the ring together. Christian Cage versus Darby Allin. Darby Allin always puts on a good show. Eddie Kingston versus Shibata. For those of you who don't watch New Japan, that might be like a dullard for you, but Shibata is an excellent wrestler, and Eddie Kingston is one of the better ones coming up right now. Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart for the women's TBS champion. That looks good. The Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson versus the Guns, the Bullet Club. Lucha Brothers, and Orange Cassidy and Hook. Now, the Lucha Brothers are mind-blowingly good, and the Young Bucks are legendary good, and the Guns are great. So I got 3 of the best tag teams in wrestling in one match. And then I have Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta. But there's probably more that's going to change about this. But I think you're going to see some signings in there. I really do think you're going to see Edge, or AKA Adam Copeland, and I also think you might see Mercedes up here, and there might be some other stuff too. I just got a feeling about this pay-per-view. William Thun on Sony is not currently developing the Spider-Man spin-off movie Silver Sable, according to writer Anderson Beard. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they got enough right now. They got enough right now. They focus on Craven, focus on Madam Web, and then go from there. I don't think this doesn't mean they'll ever get to it. I just think there's just a lot going on right now, and the strike has crammed up everything. Question or number is so since Marvel has begun to meet with writers to hear pitches of their X-Men movie, what would your pitch be for an MCU X-Men film? So it depends on how they're going to handle the Secret War thing and how much they're going to reset things. Personally, I would reset now that you've told the story. You've told the story of the Infinity Saga and all that. I would break loose of all that, and I would restart the Marvel Universe. And the basis of that would be the X-Men, and it would be the Fantastic Four. I would reset the timeline to where mutants are already existing in the Marvel Universe, but you are now just starting to see Professor X bring them into a team type format. They handle the one side of the Marvel Universe, and then the Fantastic Four handle the other end. So the two teams that the entirety of the Marvel Universe going forward would be the X-Men and their related teams. So all the teams that are related to the X-Men, whether you want to have an X-Factor, X-Force, whatever you want to do there, you have them handle that, and then you have the Fantastic Four handling a lot of the bigger galactic, cosmic type entity stuff. So I would reset the timeline to where mutants have always been around, but I would tell that storyline without the Avengers being a main part. You can still have them there until you recast them, but I would make the focal point. I would start with the original Avengers. Yeah, and what that would do is that would give you time and space between the last iterations of these characters, including Wolverine and the Avengers, and that would allow you to tell a story. And then 5 or 6 years from now, when you're ready to introduce certain characters, you're not dealing with, oh, Tony Stark is my Iron Man. I'll never watch her. And if it's not Hugh Jackman, I'm not watching. And so you'll have enough time in between there. And in the meantime, there's a lot of other mutants that you could build up that are really popular. You can start out with the original X-Men, and you can go into the second group of X-Men as soon as you want. If you want to get Storm up there. But I would tell a story, a Charles Xavier Magneto story with the original X-Men, and then go whatever direction you want to go, because there's a lot of cool stories that you could start with that they really never hit on properly. So that's how I do it. Happy weekend to you, Hal Jordan. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Yeah. I'm bigger role. I think it was Marsden who played him, and it wasn't his fault. It was just the way they constructed that story. But if I were to do X-Men, Cyclops would be the Captain America of that group as far as his leadership goes. And, one of the things I've always liked about Cyclops when I would read him as a kid is the weight of leadership that was always burdening him, and how he had to basically grow into that task, and how he could never relate. I mean, he could relate to Jean, but he could never relate to even his own brother because of the leadership responsibilities that he had, and the fact that the rest of those guys could blend into society and he couldn't. I mean, there's just a lot about Cyclops' character. I think the Fox movies did a real good job in a lot of aspects, and I really do enjoy most of those movies. But I think Cyclops is one that I would like to be see more developed. Jacob William thought, did you see Saw X is now the highest rated film of the franchise, Rotten Tomatoes, with 77 reviews and 90% audience score? I sent some people to that too. I've heard one of the guys of my reviewer that I sent to that said it's the best in the franchise, so I can believe that. And I also saw another article where the production group thinks they may have made a mistake in killing off Jigsaw as soon as they did, because remember, he died in 3. Sorry, spoiler alert. Yeah, I'm literally watching the Spear right now on the news on my TV in front of the screen. I am literally watching the artist and everything. And you know what? Sons of bitches, they're showing the Spear story and the inside of the Spear, and it's a split screen with Tupac. Those people put $1.5 billion into that spear. It's now opening, and you split screen it with Tupac. And then they just basically took the spear off the screen, and now I got this guy who basically should have in white letters on his forehead, I did it. A QR code that you can scan that says, I did it. You know, when they pull off the mask of Scooby-Doo and it's the same guy under the mask, that's him. I mean, and then Metro's up here like, we just broke the case. I'm like, well, no, you just made an arrest in a case that was like literally, and I'm watching the guy right now. I mean, they're showing the footage from MGM. I'm like, everybody involved is literally on film. And this was before cell phone cams. Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious. Should Batman be as horrific and campy as the Saw franchise? Nah. I don't think you. Oh, I mean, I guess what you consider campy. I don't think Saw is horrific, man. I'm skipping this Saw because, like I said, that poster, fuck that, man. You can't get me with eye torture. You can fool me with anything else, but when you outwardly let me know that we're gonna be messing with the eyeballs, I'm out, man. I'm out. William thought on Jason Blum on the possibility more Halloween film. Yeah, I saw him bouncing that off. Jason Blum, if you're watching this, please don't. Please don't. Let Halloween rest for about a decade. I've been thinking about Halloween a lot lately. I'm not so sure. I was very sure it was it was our last Halloween, and now I don't know. No, let's let it rest. All right, with WWE side Brian Pillman Jr., do you think they look at Brock Anderson and bringing him into the Performance Center for a possible tryout? Please, seems like a W. Like a W is not really doing anything. I don't know. I mean, Brock Anderson is, Arn Anderson's son. I mean, he's decent, but I don't. Wherever he is, he's gonna need time to develop. Whether it's WWE or he's rough. He's rough, and he's not there yet. So it really, I don't know what they would do with him, but But yeah, Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman Jr. is another one that just is. I watch these guys and I see greatness there, but if you got a full roster of people that are already there, I mean, a lot of these guys fall through the cracks. Numbers, even though I would like Edge to link back up with Christian, I think Edge is going to retire from wrestling. I don't think he's going AEW, but I don't think he's going to retire. And even if he doesn't wrestle anymore, I mean, Christian Cage wrestles once every 4 or 5 days. I could be totally wrong. I think you're going to see him. I think you're going to see him on Sunday. And if I'm wrong, I will come out here and say, I didn't see Edge, but I just got a tingling feeling that you're going to see several people debut on Sunday. Be sure to hit the like button. Yeah, where are we at with the like button? Come on, hit me. Like, all right, X off the screen. All right, I was watching a channel of the former head of the Gambino family. That's the head of the family during the period when Hoffman was murdered, and he was reacting to The Irishman. He said none of the movies is true. Frank Sheehan was never involved in the murder. Yeah, a lot of people said that about The Irishman. They took some liberties. Midnight Mirror. Well, it's a Saw movie is doing pretty well. I only seen the first Saw. Maybe I'll rewatch the first 3. I thought 3 was the best of the series, but I also like 4 as well too. No, I do not have a home theater setup. I rarely watch movies at my house. I usually watch movies at the center, and when I have the setup at the center, that is surround sound. I have the 18-foot screen that I use my Epson projector to blast stuff out with. So yeah, when I'm watching a movie that I can't watch in the theater, I generally don't watch a lot of movies at home. I'm usually not home very often. The Tupac movies and actors who played them all are aren't great, to be honest. Anthony Mackie did his best Biggie movie. What up? Yeah, thought on Martin Scorsese. He said something. Let me in. I knew you were going to tell me. He said they're films for everyone. I would love to see some support from theaters, which would make it possible for people who want to come to a theater to see a film that is not necessarily a blockbuster. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I hear a lot of people say that. I wouldn't mind that, but it's just, the financial reality is just they're just not draws. They're just not draws. It's, and when you're when you're trying to convince someone to pay money, people will go for those trusted brands before they go for indies, unfortunately. William, I really don't believe Mercedes is going to AEW like the dirt. She's already there. She's already there. The only reason you haven't seen her wrestle is she wasn't cleared to wrestle. But on that last pay-per-view, they didn't show her, put her on camera because she wasn't going to wrestle with AEW. She's not cleared yet. And remember, she had to drop her title. She had to drop the Strong title and the IWGP Women's title because she wasn't cleared to wrestle. That's how Julia got, that's how Willow got that title, and that's how I think Julia got the other title. I forgot who's the title holder now, but she had to relinquish those. She had to relinquish the second title because she got injured. She was not cleared to wrestle. But no, she's already there. She's already there, and that relationship is already there. And with AEW New Japan, she wouldn't have necessarily need to even sign a contract because there's a working agreement between those two promotions. But no, she's already there. I don't know if you watched the last pay-per-view. They kept like showing her and bringing her up on name and everything else. You don't do that if you're not going to put her in the ring. As soon as she's cleared to wrestle, she's going to be there. Well, I thought I saw X cost $2 million during. Yep. I knew a lot of people that were going to go see. I promoted that movie, so I'm happy. I hope I was a small part of that. William thought on Mark Berg. Oops, hold on. Thought on Mark Berg, Oren Cools think the choice to kill. Yeah, I was starting to kill Jigsaw in Saw 3 might have been a mistake. If I had to do it again, I might not have killed Tobin Bell. Yeah, I thought when I was watching Saw 3 in the movies, I was shocked that they did it. I was shocked when they did it. I'm like, wow. I like Tubok, but when he made fun of Star Trek fans, I thought he went too far. It was pretty brutal. Yeah, I remember that, but damn, that's not what I think about when I think about him now. She William from Cyclops is too much of a dick to be a leader of the X-Men. I think it would be better to have a person like Storm or Jean be leader. No, not Jean, but no, here's the thing though, and I thought that Cyclops being that way was accurate because a lot of times when you have other people's lives in your hand and you're a battlefield general like that, you have to be able to, you can't get so attached to them in the way that they can get attached to each other. And he may have seemed like an asshole, but he really wasn't. He had the burden of leadership. So I always thought that was accurate. And Storm does lead. Storm is the leader after Cyclops leaves. William, how different would the skyline of Vegas have been if they had allowed the hotel that's off the strip to build that massive roller coaster that ended up being canceled? I forgot. But it depends on where they built it, though. Because depending on where you build it, it could still be part of the skyline. A lot of the times, the skyline is depending on which perspective you're from, where you're looking at it from. But I remember that. I never knew why that got canceled. I never really, because stuff gets canceled here all the time. You can't skip the 3Ds, William. No. Like I said, why am I going to pay money for a movie I got to cover my eyes up for? Fuck that. William, I like your pitch, but can we hold off on Magneto since he's been in almost every movie? And there's a plethora of X-Men villains who haven't. Okay. I'm going to say no. I understand what you're asking, but I have to say no, and here's why. Magneto, in the contrast from day one, moment one, minute one, is the X-Men story. It is it resonates through all of X-Men. The struggle for his point of view of mutant kind and Charles Xavier's one of mutant kind, and the proxy war that they fight for the entire existence of the X-Men is the basis of the story. I mean, if I don't think I don't think you should. The whole reason that the X-Men are formed is because Charles Xavier knows what Magneto has become and what he's going to become. And he knows he needs someone out there to protect humankind and put a heroic face on mutant kind. So Magneto is part of that psychology. I don't think you can remove him from the origin story because it's his point of view, his struggle, and Charles Xavier's point of view. In contrast to that, that creates the X-Men and that creates that friction that it has been effective. You know, and there's a reason why Magneto's one of their most frequent enemies, even in the comic books. Yes, the X-Men have a ton of enemies, but if you notice, Magneto's always there because it's not just him as a villain that brings him into conflicts. It's his point of view that brings him into conflict. So I would say no, but hey, you know what? I'm not a screenwriter, so. Question: favorite era of the classic horror monster films? The Fly. Let's go with The Fly. Lexi J, I agree on Cyclops for myself. I'd also would love to see better done with Angel. Maybe that would also push current X-Men writers to do a better job with his character. He's been made a jobber. Yeah, ever since Fall of the Mutants, and that's a long time away. To me, that was the best writing of Warren Worthington III that I've seen. When he came back as Archangel and had to basically spend the next 6, 7, 8 years getting his humanity back. And then I remember the storyline where he loses the blades, the murderous blades that were his feathers, and he starts to get his real feathers back. And I remember how happy he was to claim that back. I would love to see stories like that told with him. So yeah, I mean, I think they could do a lot more. But here's the thing, though: when they did the Fox X-Men, they jumped right to the most popular iteration of X-Men instead of telling a complete X-Men story. You had Kitty Pryde was in there, you had Rogue was in there, you had people that weren't in the X-Men stories until like literally 12, 13 years later. So William Thunder, the creator, earns 1.6 million on Thursday previews. I think it's going to have a hard time getting up there, which is unfortunate because it looks, and the stupid ass cinema score is not going to help. But it looks like a great movie. I haven't heard a bad review from it from people I trust, so I'm going to give it a shot. It's going to make a little bit more when I go see it. All right, Anthony Manzano, because the neighborhood that was next to the hotel complained to the city commission at the time, saying the roller coaster was going to cost much. Yeah, that's the way a lot of these things get canceled. William Thunder and the Nun 2 is expected to outgross the Flash globally this weekend. Well, yeah, they've handled the Nun franchise better than they handled the DC franchise. So no surprise there. Oh, I watched both of these guys. I don't find Sammy Gravano to be as credible as Michael Francis. I don't agree with a lot of stuff Michael Francis says, but when you hear him talk from where he's at, he doesn't really hide a lot more. I always get the sense that when I'm listening to Sammy the Bull, there are things that he's just still not putting out there, which is fine. But when it comes to icon goes, I mean, obviously Sammy the Bull is always going to be the bigger icon because he was the underboss to John Gotti. John Gotti was the modern day, Teflon monster. He was a Hollywood monster, to the point where it hurt him. But as far as like credibility and value of story, I like Michael Francis. Like I said, he goes off on some crazy tangents sometimes, but I really like him better. Okay, numbers. Personally, I thought Saw 4 was better than Saw 3. Here's the thing, though. Remember, Saw 3 and 4 are basically the same movie. You don't really realize it till Saw 4, but you realize it was. Sorry, guys, this has been 15 years now, or actually 7, more than that. But Saw 3 and 4 actually are taking place at the same time. That was a big reveal, and I thought that was cool. Who is my favorite X-Men? It's probably going to be Wolverine because more has been done with him. and he's been featured more. And even if there's other members in the book, Wolverine has some more depth to the character, in my opinion. William, thought on Spawn movie is still coming out in 2025, according to Jason Blum. We're very close to having a script, and we're gonna feel real good about. Wow, he's cutting it close. Did you like Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis? Oh yes, I did. It was disgusting. I thought it was great. He's a pro at the isolated science strip. Yeah, he's been casted a lot, but the Cronenberg one in 1986. I saw that in the movie, and I remember literally feeling queasy in the stomach because of just the transformation and the gooey shit, and he's falling apart, and it's just like he's like, I'm not getting worse, I'm getting better as his ear falls off. It's like, oh, good lord. Yeah, I really enjoy it. But we're going to be showing Vincent Price's The Fly on one of our drive-ins on the 28th for our Halloween drive-in. But yeah, I love David Cronenberg's The Fly. All right, hey, William, that's a question I want. I want you to think a guy like Archangel would do well as leader of X-Men. No, he wouldn't. You got to understand where Warren, or AKA Angel, is at the time he joins the X-Men. He's a really, really rich guy who doesn't really have to go through a lot of the struggles that a lot of other people do. He can hide his mutant kind because he's rich. I mean, he can, and even he's public, a lot of people knew who he was anyway. He wore a mask, but for the most part, they knew who he was. But he was rich. He was a pest. He was conceited. He was a ladies' man type of guy. He was a guy who would go along for the ride, but he wasn't necessarily leadership material. Out of all the original X-Men, the one that is the leader is the leader. I mean, he's the one. Professor X picked the right guy. Now, at some point in time, and they never really. If you're going to evolve Archangel to be a leader, you're going away from the source material, which is fine. But he's never been that character. So if you were going to do that, it would be something that you're writing in, and it's something new because he's just never been that character. Even when he was Archangel, he wasn't that character. I have to be here for Howard the Duck in spirit. I have a photo shoot on Saturday, but Duck Hardman. Are you serious, dude? You willed this into existence and you're not going to be there? Wow. William, the hotel that was going to build that massive roller coaster with the Fontainebleau in Vegas. Well, Fontainebleau is now hiring for people, ironically. I'm more of Sammy's content on YouTube. He was a street guy. Michael did mainly white-collar crime. That's true. Well, yeah, Sammy was a street guy. Yeah, I agree with that. Some of the best stories come from the mob, Hitman. Yeah, some of them do, but like I said, Francis gives me stuff like from like meetings and sit downs and stuff, And like I love when he does the mob movie thing, so he could tell you because his father, Sonny Francis, knew almost all the guys that are in these modern mob movies. His dad did a lot of prison time because he wouldn't flip. He ended up dying at 103 years old, but he was when he tells you about his dad, so he knows all these guys, so, and I love when he does his movies. Like you look up at his YouTube channel and he'll review these movies and he'll be like, this part's true, this part that's Hollywood, that would never happen like that. And you would never talk to a boss like that. If you'd have talked to a boss like that, this guy would have been dead, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he breaks down The Sopranos too. That was one of his favorite things to do. So question, William, what's your top 3 favorite live action Fox X-Men movies? Days of Future Past, the original X-Men. Well, actually, I'm going to go the original X-Men, Days of Future Past, and X-Men First Class. Oh, somebody's dinging in. Who's dinging in? Who's dinging in? Okay, that's Clint. All right, so yeah, there's my order. Anthony, a lot of mobster William hates Sammy the Bull because he's a snitch. He basically became a rat for the FBI. Oh yeah, he became a rat. And he wasn't a lot of those guys flip. Yeah, he went into witness protection and then he just got out. But yeah, a lot of them, But one of the things that Sammy and also Michael Francis, I can't believe we found our way in mafia conversation. We never know where this is going to go. One of the things that they brought up and they constantly bring up is the modern day mob doesn't have the respect for Omerta, which is the code of silence that the like Sonny, Sonny Francis, which is his father, did. The Gambino family, Carlo Gambino, who ran that family and handed it over to Paul Castellano, who ended up being killed by John Gotti. Those guys had the code of silence, and they had harder rules. That's why so many guys flipped, because when 1970s you had the RICO law, which was the racketeering law, which is basically you didn't need to catch the guy, the organized crime boss, in the act, as long as you could prove that he was the boss of the family. So a lot of guys started doing hard time. I mean, hard time in penitentiaries and places where they couldn't fix things. And when somebody told you, hey, we're going to put you in prison for 30 years, a lot of times you'll flip. And that's what ended up happening. RICO changed everything. So Sammy the Bull was one of them, but there was a lot. There were mob bosses at the top that were flipping. So they made a business decision, Anthony. Yep, we're gonna be, and I'm having made a giant fly, and it's gonna be a double feature on the 28th. If you're out here, Rhea, it's gonna be a giant. I'm gonna have a giant fly, a really big fly. We're talking like a 7 to 8 foot fly, and we're gonna have a giant ant, because the other part of the double feature is gonna be Them, which is an old classic giant ant movie. It's cheesy as hell, but it's for kids and stuff. So. What mobster deserves a movie, in your opinion, William? I think Giuseppe Casso is long overdue. Carlo Gambino. That's me. Gas Pipe is okay. So when it comes to Gas Pipe, he doesn't have a movie about him, but there's a lot of people that I'm looking at the way they made them, just like Tony the Ant Spilaccio. I mean, there's a lot of characteristics that I see in Gas Pipe that I see in a lot of these movies. So he hasn't had his own movie, I don't recall, but no, for me it will be Carlo Gambino, because Carlo Gambino represents the difference between the old generation that didn't flash and didn't talk, and then this new generation that didn't. So it'll be interesting to see how that will go. Archangel and Dazzler. When it comes to Dazzler, given where she came from, that cheesy 70s stuff that she was involved in, from her first appearance and all that, I never, ever, ever thought I would take her seriously as an X-Men until she joined the X-Men during the post-Mutant Massacre era, and she became one of my favorite X-Men. All right, Lex J. As far as Archangel leading, I think Uncanny X-Force suited him. Funding the team, leading it with Wolverine. See, with Wolverine, I agree. Having the base hidden with the mountain, because remember, they created that group, as a hardcore, subversive type group. So my favorite Fantastic Four villain is Galactus, and I have to see. I before I leave this planet, I must see Galactus on live screen. I have to see it, and not that smoke monster shit from Fantastic Four 2. I would like to see a mob movie done about either Giuseppe Joe. Wow, there's two of them. The Boss Mazzaria, Joe the Boss Mazzaria. Yeah, because he it's his killing. Both of those guys, it's their killing that leads to Lucky Luciano, and that's another one I would like to see. Even though if you look at Lucky Luciano, a lot of people will say that The Godfather is Michael Corleone is based on him, but I would like to see an actual movie that wasn't that says these people. Because remember, back in the 70s. The mob had a lot of say in what movies got made. They don't have that kind of power now when it comes to movie making. So you can make these movies now. But that's another one, Lucky Luciano. But I'm pretty sure with Joe the Boss Mazzaria and Salvatore Mazziato, with him helping organize their deaths, that he would be in that movie. But yeah, that would be a good movie. Question: what rock band is way past overdue a movie biopic in your opinion? Aerosmith. That one was easy. Vincent Gigante, Carmel Portugal. Yeah, it's just a lot of them that you could do it. But if you want priority for me, it would be Carlo Gambino. William, audiences have spoken. 3 horror in town saw X receives a B cinema score from moviegoers. Solid R-rated horrors are on par with Smile, Megan, Nope, Candyman's B. All right, so here's the thing, though, and this further indicts this cinema score bullshit. Candyman is not a B. B cinema score is not good. Candyman was good. Megan was good. Nope wasn't my cup of tea, but it was good. Smile, I was disappointed with the ending, but that was good. But these movies are making money, so there's your cinema score. So I agree, Jacob. Yeah, Carlo Gambino movie, and like I said, because he rolls right when he died, and it was his son-in-law, Paul Castellano, got named over De La Rosa, Neil De La Rocca. Neil De La Rocca got passed over. Neil De La Rocca was a consigliere and the underboss, and that's where it started the schism with all the street level guys, because they think Neil as an underboss should have been promoted, but because Paul Castellano was failing, he promoted Paul Castellano, and that became the rift that ended up, making it so that John Gotti could pretty much create a subversive environment around him and then ultimately kill him outside of the Sparks Steakhouse. Gaslight spearheaded the revenge arc against Gotti killing Castellano and hired killer cops. The cops got more notoriety than he did, if I remember correctly. Gaslight flipped to, Gaslight. They all flipped. The only ones who didn't flip literally were Gotti and a few other ones. And Gotti was doing time. Gotti was dying of throat cancer in prison and didn't flip. And even though he did a lot of things that were not very smart as far as this, this hidden world that they were supposed to be leading, he kept to the code. So, gotta at least respect that. How you doing, Larry? What's going on? Geez. Approximately 14.5. No, listen. No countdowns to this. No countdowns. We do not need to count down to that shit. Yes, I still, and I'm going to discuss that at length tomorrow. Tomorrow night. And once again, when we discuss this tomorrow with Crisis of Infinite Earth, I am not calling into question the quality of the work that was done. I am calling into question the motives and the precedent it set. A precedent that I don't think was good. So, like I said, that's what makes it a turning point story for me. So, yeah, we're going to dive headfirst into that tomorrow. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. The things I do for my adoring public, damn it. All right. Do you like Christian Slater? Does Christian get a lot of movie? It's too Spielberg-y in my opinion. I have not seen it. What's the title of it, Ray? Azteca. I would like to see a continuation to Apocalyptico. Mel Gibson returning to direct a show the Conquistadors versus Ape. You know what? Apocalypto was a really brutal movie. I actually remember seeing that in the theaters. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Anthony William, I read some crazy story about the movie The Hills Have Eyes. Both the original and the remake said it was based off of a family that became cannibals in Scotland. Yes, it was. We brought this up, with that one time where somehow, some way, we got talking about an hour and a half in about serial killers, and we brought this up. What was that family name? Because they shot this in where is that? Hold on for a second. I'm going to look this up real quick. Google. Because we brought this up on air. Hills have What was his family? The Legend of Sawney Bean. To be the head of a wild Scottish clan that murdered and cannibalized numerous people during the 16th century. There you go. I had to actually get up out of my laying position to get that up for you. But like I said, I do this for you guys. All right, let's look and see where we're going. We've been going for an hour. I started early, so we'll probably go a little bit longer. And like I said, since I'm laying down and resting, this is kind of cool. All right, so Anthony, that is not a crazy story. That is actually true. So this is my first watch party. Does that mean I find it on streaming demand, or are you actually screening it? I got to get with Vince. If I can't get with Vince, we're going to. I am going to stream it through one of our Twitch channels, and then I will put the link in the chat in the same manner as we did with Star Trek when we did Star Trek watch parties. Yeah, this was impromptu. I was not supposed to be doing this stream, but I was going to go see Creator tonight, and this was going to be the break because I think I've done like 25 or whatever streams in a row. Somebody's going to have to count for me. But I just didn't feel like being on my feet anymore, and I just didn't feel like being out. I just felt like going to get my food and just relaxing. And talking to you guys and answering questions is not the kind of work that wears me down. It's actually the kind of work that just puts everything back in perspective and keeps my brain from wandering. So right now, like I said, I'm not turning on my camera, but I'm literally in a laying position. And I have my massage chair is from my bottom of my spine all the way up to my neck. And I have it tied. I have it braced to the chair, and I'm just basically just letting it pop and loosen everything in my back. And I have my sciatica bands on my legs, and I have my because I have flat feet. And years of being in the Army and then working on concrete, I look like I'm in a bionic man type of situation right now. But I have these things strapped to my feet that make it so that my feet have the structure when I'm not, so that I don't develop any pain overnight. So yeah, you don't want to see me right now. But yeah, that's I wasn't planning on streaming tonight. I was planning on just going to watch the Creator, getting some food, and coming home. I just ended up. And another thing, I went and did some grocery shopping. And here in Vegas now, because I live in Mayberry, and we're not 24 hours anymore, I have to plan that shit too. Tech, what's up, William? Ray, Glimmering Harpy, Midnight Meat Rollers. Okay, you got everybody. Cool. All right, Ray. I'd watch Nicky Scarfo movie. That's gonna be a violent movie. any movie about the Philly mob is gonna be violent as fuck, man. You're gonna have to have extras. Yeah, his nephew Phil. Yep, Phil flipped and wrote a book. He still does interviews with his face bro. I don't know why he does anything with his face bro out, because everybody in that crew is either dead, died in prison, or they flipped. Who's left to go after him? And most of the people that are left don't want to do that hard time. That's one of the reasons why what's his face is walking around. Most of these guys, even Henry Hill went in a witness protection program. He didn't. But so many of those guys were dead that he ended up dying of natural causes. He was doing book tours and shit. So, yeah. But if you're gonna do a movie about the Philly mob, I mean, they're doing drive-bys and killing babies by accident. I mean, they did a whole bunch of shit. And Scarfo was particularly violent. All right. I mean, yeah. You never know. You never know what's going to be on the bingo card when we do open mic. What haven't we talked about? We go from serial killers to mobsters to Zack Snyder to aliens. I mean, all kinds of shit. But hey, there we go. For the win. Yep, there's a bingo card. Fun. I bought a bag of popcorn and a bottle of soda for the best watch along with Howard the Duck. Oh, geez. You may have to get you some Pepto because I don't know what you're in for. It's 2:30 and I might just have to stay awake, so I'm 6 minutes behind. Oh, geez. Should I bring popcorn and soda for you, William, tomorrow? Sure. Actually, you just bring me Starbucks. I'll be fine with that. Starbucks, I won't throw up Starbucks, but if I have to watch, I might throw up Solitude. If I have to watch this. It's called Mobsters, right? Are you talking about the Christopher Slater one? Maybe. The Slater movie is literally called Monsters. It's got Luciano Lasky. Okay, I've heard of that. I have not seen that. But you're saying it's good? I may have to give it a try. Came out in 1991. Wow, man. My junior high year. Oh my god. I watched it on Tubi. There's a lot of good shit on Tubi, dude. Tubi and Plex. I can see how those channels make money because they got little ad tiers and shit in there. I'm gonna check out their ad rates and see if I can buy some local ads in there, man. The Tubi's, that's a good business model, man. I just totally discarded that as just some free shit with a bunch of ads, but there's some good stuff on there, and you can pay to not have those ads in there. The Hills Have Eyes 2006 is in my top 10 horror films, but I never saw it. Was like, 16th century. Yep. A lot of your serial killer movies, to be honest with you, are based on real people. Are not entirely, but like Ed Gein and Chainsaw Massacre, all kinds of guys. Oh, Lansky and Siegel were the OG Jewish mobsters in Dutch Schultz. Dutch Schultz was a psychopath. They had to kill his ass. He was such a psychopath that the mob was like, we got it. He was going to take out Dewey. And Lucky Luciano was like, you kill the DA, the New York District Attorney. They're going to come down on us like a dragon. And the mob had you don't kill an honest law man. They're just doing their job. You kill a crooked one. Because remember the Godfather, when they were going to kill the McCluskey, they're like, hey, if we kill this guy, all the families will distance themselves from it. Even the old man's political connections won't. And Michael bought out, but this is not a normal cop. This is a crooked cop that got caught up in the rackets and got what he deserved. That's a good story. We got people that can print that story, don't we? And I love that Godfather. I love the Godfather. I want my rooftop Korean action film. Okay. I watched the clip of Howard the Duck to wet the whistle, so to speak, and I must say the duck costume is pretty good. Were you high? That costume is very disturbing. The whole movie's just fucking disturbing. I don't know why you guys. William, my question is how old superhero like Batman wasn't institutionalized? The guy was both sociopathic and psychopathic tendencies. I understand he became like that because of his parents' death. Because he's rich. He does not. When you're rich, you control as many levers as he does. He literally funds Gotham, and you're not around everybody. Like if I was crazy, I'm around so many people that they're like, "Oh, William's crazy. We need to put him away." But he exists in his own world. He stays up in his manor. Nobody can get to him, and he can basically put on whatever face he wants to. And yes, he's a sociopath. He's not okay. And he's a little bit psychotic, but he's a functioning sociopath. He's a functioning psychopath. There's a difference. Most serial killers are the same way. He just has good intentions. That's really the only difference between Batman. It's his heroic intention. Patrick Dempsey. Oh, man. Officers. It being distributed by Universal explains the Spielberginess. So if I go to the Patreon link, it will go to Twitch, or do I need? No, you do not need Twitch to watch this, guys. You can watch it just outright on. I will have the Twitch link in the. I will have the Twitch link in the chat and for our Patreons. But the difference between the Patreons is you Patreons that are in the Patreon now, you guys will be on the screen with me. You will be hosting it with me. Everybody else, the Twitch link will be in. Just put it into the chat, and you just watch it from there, like we do for Star Trek. I'm sorry. Question, William, have you seen any Yakuza movies? Black Rain. Best Yakuza movie I saw, but it was also back in the early '80s or late '80s, and it was a Ridley Scott movie. No, I will watch Irish gangster movies. I will watch Black Mass. I will watch. If you look at The Departed is really not an Italian mob movie. I will watch mob movies, any mob if they're done well. But my favorite Yakuza movie is a movie called Black Rain. Andy Garcia is in it, and so is Michael Douglas. What's on the menu tonight? Was it Fatburger, Subway? Nah, it's actually Walmart food. Beef and broccoli. Beef and broccoli. I ate Kim's for lunch. Oh, I feel older than you right now, William. Good. I hope everybody in there feels older than me. Damn it. What's your ideal breakfast? Well, nothing. I don't get up early enough for breakfast. Lunch is my first meal of the day. But if I did get up, it will be waffles. Damn, I'm sorry to hear about your leg and foot. Oh, I've had it since the 90s. I was flat-footed when I joined the Army. I got a waiver. I kept getting rejected, but I had a waiver. I have size almost 14 feet, and they're completely flat. But I wanted to join the military. I wanted to join the Army, and then after Operation Iraqi Freedom, they got rid of it. You no longer needed a waiver. If you could get on the plane, here's their health requirements. Can you get on this plane? Can you carry this duffel bag and this weapon? You're in. But yeah, and I work when I do depot and everything else. I work on concrete floors, and I'm constantly on my feet. And like I said, I have flat feet. It's just part of the deal. And in sciatica, because of the the vibrations, if I'm not wearing the right shoes, even if I am wearing the right shoes, the vibrations just cause a lot of So when I'm not doing anything else, I switch over to my nice soft shoes, and I try to get off my feet as soon as possible. But no, it's just something. It's manageable. It's manageable. Ray, the movie you're thinking about, Patrick Jim, yeah, they got it. Oh, dude, are you serious? Numbers? Top 3 favorite mob films? Holy cow, dude! How could you do this to me? The Godfather 1, The Godfather 2. Goodfellas. I mean, number 3 can be a different film each time around, but the first 2 are always going to be the same. William, even New York City isn't 24 hours anymore since the pandemic. Strange time. No, it's just people just didn't want to pay people. Henry Hill was a cook at a hole in wall before he passed away. He snorted up his book and Goodfellas money. Yeah, and he got kicked out of witness protection program because he was doing drug deals. He just could not get away from the drugs. He got a lot of people sent to prison because of his habit. Boardwalk Empire is an excellent show. It should have lasted longer, but I see why it didn't. They told the story that they needed to tell. Open mics are the best. Yeah, they really are, because you really can't. You really just don't know where they're going to go. And also, you guys bring up things that broaden my horizons. I sometimes I'm not even thinking of some of the stuff that you guys bring up. And I'm like, you know what? And I incorporate it in my day. It might be a movie you guys bring up to where I'm like, since I own every damn streaming service, you guys bring up something, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? And I email myself, and I'm like, you know what? Let me give that a try. So I love open mics. Road Perdition is actually a comic book movie. Yes, it is. I have that comic book. And a lot of people don't know that. It's one of those things where people come in off and look at my shelf, and they'll be like, wow, this Tom Hanks movie. They made a comic book out of this? I'm like, no, son. No. Steve Buscemi, yeah. He was great on Sopranos. Wasn't Grace Garfield the one that basically tortured that KKK member during the civil rights movement to get information from who murdered those? From Mississippi Burning? Yeah, they the FBI the FBI set that shit up. KKK member who. There's a documentary called "The Mob versus the Klan." If you guys, I think it's on the History Channel. They go over that, and it's hilarious. The FBI, the FBI did what? Let's just say the FBI. What was his name? Hold on. I'm going to bring up the story because it's hilarious. And it's actually, like I said, yeah, Mafia. This is hilarious. I'm not hilarious. It's actually exclusive. FBI used Mafia Capo to find bodies of Ku Klux Klan victims. All right, so I'm going to read this from here. This is so that you know that it's not And no, the guy you're talking, let's see, you are correct in the no, not Greg Scarpo. It's Greg Scarpio. It's an understandable confusion, but let me read this because this is one of the most hilarious, not hilarious, but the fact that FBI just said, fuck it. We're going to use whoever we need to get to the bottom of this. FBI used Mafia Capo to find bodies of Ku Klux Klan victims. The FBI recruited a Mafia enforcer to help solve the slaying of 3 civil rights workers by the Ku Klux Klan in Mississippi in the 1960s. According to the evidence provided in the Brooklyn State Court by a mobster's mole, in 1988, the film Mississippi Burning that recreated the events. The case was broken when the FBI brought in a black agent to put the frighteners on a Ku Klux Klan member. But Linda Shiro told the court it was her boyfriend, Gregory Scarpa, who had kidnapped the Klansman, put a gun to his mouth, and forced him to reveal the spot where the 3 had been buried. The FBI, until that point, had been engaged in a fruitless search for civil rights workers, facing silence from the Klansmen and the white community in general. James Chaney, Michael Shermer, and Andrew Goodman were beaten and shot by a gang of white supremacist Klansmen and buried in the earthen dam near Philadelphia, Mississippi. Rumors about the involvement of Scarpa have circulated for years, and the report appeared in New York Daily News a decade ago based on federal sources, but this is the first time the claim has surfaced in open court. Scarpa, who Ms. Shiro said had boasted of the involvement in 20 killings, was nicknamed the Grim Reaper. Well, if you're going to get a guy to get answers, that's the guy you get. Had been a capo in the Colombo crime family. He died in jail in 1994. The Mississippi case attracted a lot of political and media attention. Scarpa, according to Shiro, said that the FBI director at the time was getting a lot of pressure, and this is true, about the bodies and where they were. Shiro, who met Scarpa in a bar in 1962 when she was 17, said she'd flown him to Mississippi in 1964. They walked into a hotel in Neshoba County, where the FBI based itself during the investigation, and he had winked at the agents. Minutes later, an agent turned up in their room, handed Scarpa a gun. Greg changed his clothes, left some money on the dresser, and told me if he didn't come back to take a cab to the airport and just go home. He later told that he had kidnapped a salesman, a local Klansman, catching him off guard by helping him carry a television to a car. He put a gun in his mouth and said, he threatened the guy. He told him where the bodies were. So I've heard stories where it was much more graphic than that. But hey, I wish I could watch along, but I did it for the Sci-Fi Gang, Sci-Fi Gang shit. Well, thank you. And like I said, the reason why I'm even doing this is because it is, even though it's a fun thing, we're watching this awful movie. It's a symbol of where we're at as far as the channel and as far as the community. You guys are willing to support the channel. Granted, it's to make me suffer, but the fact that we got that kind of support between what Fourth did and what the Patreons have done up to this point and this amount of time, I am more than happy to do this. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. I think we're going to have fun tomorrow. When have we not had fun? I still have to see Once Upon a Time in New York. Great film. Tubi is very underrated. Tubi and Plex are very underrated. And in this day of cable cutting, and you can get one of them, I think it's Plex, you can get live TV on certain channels. And if you get your Roku, my Roku has all that shit on it. I watch my local news from LA in it. So yeah, man, it's cool stuff. All right. Tubi, Freevee is another one. Pluto's the other one. Pluto has some good horror. I know Troma was using a lot of this stuff too to get their movies out there. And we were talking to Lloyd about that. They hold it down for the little guy. Yeah, and they hold it down for the consumer. You're exactly right, Ray. Question, what director would you like to see tackle? You know my answer to this. The director I want to see tackle everything, Denis Villeneuve. And after him, Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, I already see he could do it because he basically made a mob movie in the Batman. Yeah, the replay. I will not be watching the replay. Fuck that. I want crazy Joe Gallo movie. The actor and Irishman did a great job as Joe. Joe Gallo is crazy. That's another violent mofo. Oh, yeah. That guy had a bounty on him from other monsters. The Sicilian Mafia needs a movie. They were a whole different breed. Yeah, they were. And like the thing I liked, and this is why I wanted to be a Godfather 4 with Andy Garcia, is I want that last step that the Sicilian Mafia took. Like the character that Andy Garcia played would basically be a John Gotti character. He would carry some of the old ways, but you saw how flashy he was, and he would be that guy. And if you got that movie, you would see the founding of the mafia and the founding of the five families, like you see in The Godfather and The Godfather 2, all the way through the modern mafia, and then the final collapse of the mafia, and they're all Sicilians. But yeah, the Sicilian family in their raw form. I love watching mob documentaries and listening to the rules, that they had to follow. All right. Any thoughts on the mini-state to Newark? I'll hold my opinion until after. And you haven't seen it, or okay. I liked it. I didn't think I would because I don't like prequels, but I thought it was. Especially the twist at the end. I mean, obviously, when you see who's responsible for a particular act, I don't want to spoil it for anybody because that's still relatively new. But no, I enjoyed the miniseries, and his son looks just like him. If they ever want to age up his son to play future Tony Soprano, they could. He looks exactly like him. I enjoyed seeing the environment that Tony Soprano came up with, and it sort of gives you an insight of how he feels about people when you finally do see him in The Sopranos. So I enjoyed many Saints of Newark. Yeah, Black Rain is underrated. One of Michael Douglas's more underrated films. All right. I'm moving through these a little bit quicker because I'm getting hungry. Hello, William. I also wake up too late for breakfast. Sometimes dinner is my first meal. Then, yeah, and realize what kind of weird ass hours I keep too. So, if I'm going to bed at like 2, 3, or 4 in the morning, breakfast is just not an option. Unless I eat the breakfast before I go to bed. I've done that. All right, you are talking about the Gotti that had Armand Assante playing John Gotti. I think you're talking about that one. Yeah. And it had William Forsythe that played Sammy the Bull. I thought that was great. I thought that was actually an HBO movie, wasn't it? Or was that in the theaters? I saw that on HBO. I think that was a made for HBO movie. I thought Armand Assante did an excellent job playing him. Yeah, American Gangster with Denzel Washington. The most underrated and cult classic of them all is 1993 Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, starring Benjamin Bratt. Yeah, that's a brutal movie to watch too. Hey, William, by chance, have you been able to see Godfather of Harlem, the movie based off of Bumpy Johnson? Yes. Yes, I have. I love that movie. I would say Brasco is a good movie because of Pacino, but this spousal abuse and racially motivated attack on the restaurant worker is extremely hard. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's how they were, though. Unfortunately, as glorious as we like to talk about the mob and romantic as they are, some of them are racist. You hear that how they talk about us. Even in Godfather, when they're all sitting at that table for that meeting, to come to an agreement about dealing drugs, because Don Corleone didn't want to do it, and the one guy, I think it was Bazzini or whatever. No, it was Italian. Stepped up. You know what? I'm against selling drugs too, but you know what? There's good money in it, and we'll keep it out of the neighborhood. We'll give it to the colored folks and the blacks. They're animals anyway. That's how they felt about us back then. But they would do business with the Sicilian mobs and Italian mobs in New York. They would do business with everybody. They would go where the money was, even whether they liked this or not. The Axe Faculty was an underrated movie. I still need to watch Heat and Carlito's Way. Wow, you haven't seen Heat yet? Rhea, that's one of the best movies of the decade. Oh my goodness, please watch that movie as soon as possible. Carlito's Way is good, but man, it's long and it has drag points in it that will put you away. Clint, maybe Williams Horizon will be expanded to appreciate the movie magic that it's hard to duck. Not likely. Yep, 17 viewers. Hit the smash, hit the like button. Woohoo! The rabbit hole of mob history YouTube is like 50% of my feed. Yeah, I know, mine too. You know what? It's the other 50% rare besides serial killers, which is, yes, I'm that sick. The Cold War. Because I'm a Cold War baby. I grew up in the Cold War. You know, I was literally born in West Berlin during the Cold War. Literally, like, I think 400 feet away from the wall itself. I like to compare James Gunn and Peter Safran to Sonny Colio and Tom Hagen. I hope James Gunn's a little bit more cooler ahead than Sonny. I hope he doesn't get caught at the Causeway Midnight Mob train. Nobody changed their name, damn it, to Midnight Mob. Monsters, Gangland specials, all pretty good. Yeah, I love mob stuff. And we have a mob museum here. You know how pathetic I am? We have a mob museum here, and I have not gone. That's how sad. The Mafia Center. That's probably trademark. 2 more days so I can change my name back. Nah, keep it the same. I'm gonna talk to YouTube and Google and make sure you cannot change back. Oh my God! Once upon a time, America is too brutal for me. Yeah, shit, they're kicking the shit out of people now. In alleys. First time watch was enough for me. Yeah, it's what it was. I may only subscribe to free streaming services only. Well, all those are free. The ones that they were bringing up. All right, William. According to people that knew J. Edgar Hoover at the time, the reason they went after the KKK is because apparently his mother's family was back. Nah, the reason why Hoover went after the KKK is because it was reaching a height. You had so much going on that Hoover did not want to get involved in it, but it was reaching the networks. It was when you were seeing the things that were happening during the civil rights era, you couldn't hide it anymore. And when those people were killed, that made national news story. And how are you going to have a federal law enforcement agency when you have this type of thing going on? The Mississippi burning case literally called in the credibility of if we even needed a federal bureau of investigation. Otherwise, are we going to have a federal bureau? Are we going to have a law that is enforced throughout the land? Or are we going to just let, thugs in particular areas of America just do whatever they want to? And if that's the case, then the justification of the FBI is blown away. So the credibility of this organization was being called. And then Lyndon Johnson pretty much ordered him. Remember, Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill. And Hoover worked for him. Harpy Tubi is great for all my schlocky horror movies. Uncle Junior, yeah, that he obviously turned out to be a motherfucker. Yeah, I mean, I understand if he wants to resist, but man, he looks and sounds just like him, man. I hate to typecast you, but hey, it's a good steady job. I love Breakfast with Red Bed. It makes sense because you're in Vegas and I'm in New York City. Yeah, and I keep vampire hours. Well, second breakfast for me is just basically lunch. All right. Heat is what? Yes, Heat. Oh, Ray, you got to watch Heat, man. Oh, my goodness. That Michael Mann, that may be Michael Mann's one of his best movies other than Manhunter. And if you have anybody who hasn't seen Heat, I don't know what's going to be for. I think it's going to be Blue Beetle, but we're going to have to start watching these movies on the Patreon stream or in general because there are certain movies I'm finding out you guys haven't seen. And I think and I'm not exaggerating, I think the movies that some of you guys have missed will literally make your lives better by watching them, especially Heat. Ronin is great too. Sort of. It has mobsters in it. It has hitmen in it. I guess it's not mob culture type, but I guess you could consider it a mob movie. Yeah, but man, that movie seemed like it lasted like my entire life. And the ending was like, oh, geez, 3 hours. Wasn't that a 3-hour like movie? I saw that in the movie theater. That was one of the first movie theaters that I saw movies I saw when I came to Vegas. And I love Al Pacino. I mean, I've seen Al Pacino in just about everything. And to me, this was a mob movie, but man, that movie just was so slow. Up, Menace to Society. Yeah, Dead Presidents is another under the radar movie. The thing about mob movie series is that they truly are terrible people that you find yourself cheering for. Yeah, they are the worst fucking people in the. Just realize what they're doing. They're like we romanticize this, and these are killers. And like I said, and one of the thing about Michael Franzese says, you know what? I got out of that life. You know, you guys like to glorify it in the movies and all, but these are awful things that we had to do sometimes. He calls them unfortunate things, but you know, it's murder. He's like, when you're part of that life, you just accept it. But you know, Hollywood glamorized it, but there are people in. Dude, look up you can look up Murder Inc. to see how those guys that were doing things. But the guy that works for the camp, like, why is his name? Why is his name? You know, family. There's one in particular that there was one guy who had his own crew that just, I mean, he would cut you up, acid, the whole thing. And he would always say, no body, no crime. It was one of them. Hold on. Roy DeMaio. Roy DeMaio was a brutal motherfucker. Not only would he kill on a dime, the only way he got caught was an informant because he didn't leave shit. He would kill you somewhere, bury you somewhere else, bleach, acid, everything. If he got you, you were gone unless they wanted him to make an example. The only time Roy DeMaio would you would find a body is if somebody wanted to make an example of the person being killed. Otherwise, that guy was awful. American Me, yeah, with Edward James Olmos. Yep. Have you seen? Please tell me, Meat Walrus, that you've seen The Godfather and Godfather 2. Please tell me that has not happened, and you have not. 187 was all right. Weird movie as far as I'm concerned. But I like the idea of old mob movies like Tommy Guns and stuff, not Italian mafia movies. Well, those are predominantly who was doing it though. Yeah, and there's a lot of documentaries of them and how the ATF infiltrated both of them. Yeah, a lot of that shit going on in Vegas. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna wrap this up because this is midnight. Soundtrack to The Last Mohicans is damn good. One of the best in movies. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I've seen The Godfather. I didn't care for it. I was told Godfather 2 was better, but not 3. You didn't care for The Godfather. Wow. Goodness. Public Enemies is a good movie. That's another Michael Mann movie. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up because I've gone a little bit longer, and I am going to go ahead and continue laying down and eat my food and get ready for what's going to be a very, very full day. I have a Rocky Horror rehearsal tomorrow. I have Howard the Duck tomorrow. I have our stream tomorrow, and I got to deal with customers as well. So that is it. Thank you guys for being the best part of this whole YouTube experience. And almost forgot, but I never will. 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline 24/7 call, text, chat. I hope I'm getting through to everybody with this. I hope I'm getting through to the people who may need the help, and I hope I'm getting through to the people who can use this as a tool to help the people around them. All right, guys, that's it. Great conversation. Never know where it's going to go, but I know where I'm going to go right now, and that's to eat my beef and broccoli. And I will see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for this mess. And I will be crying on air. All right, guys. Have a good start to your weekend.